Celebrating 47 years on the air, award-winning Farmweek is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farm Week, a quick Farm Bill update. Anybody's guess if we'll see passage this year. Plus, top minds gather at Mississippi State to do some heavy brainstorming, all part of Vision 2030. Zach tours the MSU Large Animal Hospital in part 2 of his story on the vet school. And in our encore feature, Extension looks back at an Easter tornado. Farm Week starts right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Zach Ashmore.
And I'm Mike Russell. Great to have you with us again here on Farm Week. Much to talk about, but first, typically, the government adopts a new farm bill every 5 years, but now, 6 years after the last edition, the Senate Ag Committee has released its concept weeks after the House completed its committee work. Peter Tubbs has more.
Senator John Boozman of Arkansas, ranking member of the Senate Agriculture Committee, released the Republican membership's framework for the 2024 Farm Bill. Republicans are promoting their version of the legislation as putting more farm in the Farm Bill by modernizing the agricultural safety net and increasing funding for conservation programs. Senator Boozman argued that agriculture has changed since the signing of the 2018 Farm Bill, and the next edition must be adjusted to meet those new economic conditions. The proposed framework includes an average increase of 15% for all covered commodities. The Republican version of the bill mimics the proposed House Farm Bill voted on in May by pushing a cost-neutral policy towards the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. By limiting the growth of SNAP, Republicans hope to have more dollars to funnel towards other titles of the Farm Bill.
Ag, of course, a critical priority across the nation on multiple levels. Here at Mississippi State, with that in mind, key leaders on and outside of the campus invited to work toward a meeting of the minds in a summit called Vision 2030. It may look like a simple brainstorming session, but it was much more than that.
We had a lot of different voices there, a lot of different interests there, from university folks to stakeholders to producers all across the board of Mississippi Ag.
Where are we going to go in the next several years? Technology is changing, markets are changing, there are opportunities out there that we didn't think were out there 25 years ago.
And that was the basis for Vision 2030 at Mississippi State, an extraordinary gathering of stakeholders. It was a strong cross-section of key leaders from sectors all across the state, everyone there to brainstorm the future with MSU administrators, faculty, and researchers in a variety of fields, including supercomputing and autonomous technology. The goal? To emerge from the kaleidoscope of the present with a collaborative roadmap for a coordinated, prospering future.
I thought today was very interesting, and I'm glad that I was included in that because people don't realize how important ag is. We're in the cattle business. There are less producers in Mississippi than there are 10 years ago. And we have to inform the public as to where their food comes from, and they don't know that. They don't know when they go to the grocery store where their beef comes from, or where their vegetables come from, or where their corn comes from. And it's our job to educate the world because we're feeding the world, and that's a very important job.
Participants were there not just to bring new ideas, but to help facilitate learning from what hasn't necessarily worked in the past.
But we also were honest and had conversations about what do we see as some things that might be slowing us down. And while they were able to identify those, they were also able to say how, well, yeah, while this might be slowing us down now, if we do this, it could help us move forward. So there was a lot of taking these challenges that we have and seeing how we could turn them into opportunities.
Perhaps no one put the Vision Summit more into perspective than MSU President Dr. Mark Keenum, who characterized this group as working from both strength and innovative spirit.
We have tremendous resources and capabilities to make sure that our farmers have the latest and greatest technologies for innovation to allow them to be as productive and efficient as they can to feed the world. This is about how we're going to meet the challenges of the future. This is a visionary summit where we're talking about what we can do to better position our university, our College of Veterinary Medicine, and the work that we're doing to serve the needs of our food animal industries in the state is tremendous. And these stakeholders, these leaders from all across the state, not only are they giving us their vision, their thoughts, but they're giving us their support. Their support in Jackson, in the state capitol, their support for us with our congressional delegation in Washington, so that we can have the resources that we need to meet the needs of our students, to prepare the future leaders in these sectors, great careers, but also have the ability to have the resources for innovative research and technology for the future and be a national and global leader. That's what we're doing, and we want to just enhance that as we go forward. These summits are vital to us for our discussions and planning for the future.
What you just watched is our first look at Vision 2030. Once all that extraordinary input has been digested and sorted, we'll come back for a detailed look at the long-term trajectory those ideas will have helped shape.
Last week, we told you about the MSU Vet School and the walk-in clinic they operate used to not only help staff and the general public, but also to teach students how it's done in a supervised setting. This week, we continue the story, focusing on large animals and how the vet school helps future doctors prepare to assist them.
Mississippi is a cattle state. Cattle and calves are the fifth largest ag industry, totaling 860,000 head in 2023. With that comes the need to provide veterinary help for sick or birthing animals, and the MSU Vet School is there to teach future large animal doctors. Dr. Kevin Walters is one of these professors. He specializes in animal reproduction.
I would say probably more than 90% of my time frame is spent in a clinical setting teaching current third and fourth year veterinary students in large animal capacity, but primarily theriogenology, which is a veterinary term that's the same as reproduction. Currently, I'm teaching an elective course that's equine reproduction, and these students help manage and see cases, private clientele, pretty much in the morning up until noon, and then in the afternoon we have I guess you could call it almost a laboratory type activity, but every afternoon, Monday through Friday, even on the weekends, we go to the university farm and go to the horse unit, and that's where the students are allowed to have a lot of their opportunities for procuring and owning and polishing their clinical procedures in reproductive capacity on the mares out here at South Farm.
Although the focus is often on horses, cows, goats, and sheep are also studied so students get a well-rounded idea of how to treat all common farm animals. Fourth-year student Jake Eldridge says what sets MSU apart is the amount of mentorship he's received.
Consistently on every single rotation, the staff here is willing to sit down and have one-on-one conversations with you to learn about whatever you want to learn about, or if you have any inquiries as far as where you want to go in the future, the staff is going to go above and beyond to try to get you references, to try to find some places for you to go. I think as far as that's concerned, no matter if you're interested in it or not, some of my small animal rotations, we sat down and they helped me with blood draws, they helped me with getting a bladder, urine sample. And even on the large animal rotations, they knew I was interested in this, but still kind of break it down to the basics, letting me get that hands-on activity and kind of one-on-one mentorship, I think is something that I find unique here. And it's probably because we spend more time on these rotations too, but we build more of a relationship with the mentors that we have and the staff that's here.
So, at the end of the day, the MSU Vet School prepares future doctors by giving them plenty of experience opportunities while also paying attention to how they develop both personally and professionally. And that's an important mission too, as according to the USDA, there's a shortage of veterinarians all across the United States, including those who treat livestock. And if this keeps up, it could affect our food supply.
On the lighter side, you may not have thought of the carrot family as being a flower producer, but it turns out there are actually more than 3,700 species of wildflowers related to that Bugs Bunny treat. And some of them may be familiar. Here's Eddie.
There are many wildflowers that look great growing in the landscape. Today I'm in Carrier, Mississippi at the home of Ben and Kelly Borner, admiring a couple of unique wildflowers growing in their gardens. Bishop's flower is an award-winning annual wildflower in the carrot family with lacy white blooms on stems with feathery green foliage that can reach 3 to 6 feet tall. It is sometimes called white dill or false Queen Anne's lace. I love the abundant, lacy 4 to 6 inch flower heads that attract pollinators and other beneficial visitors, including lady beetles, lacewings, and more. This plant grows in average, moist, well-drained soil in full sun. You should sow seeds where you want them to grow. It doesn't transplant well. Dara is another unique wildflower growing in Ben and Kelly's garden. Also in the carrot family, it too has long 3 to 6 feet tall stems and feathery foliage topped by flat, airy flowers. Dara's flowers can vary in color as a beautiful shade of burgundy or blush pink. Unlike Bishop's flower, Dara is a biennial plant. Seeds should be sown in June to September for flowers the following year. Consider adding these carrot family wildflowers to your garden. I'm Eddie Smith, and I will see you next time on Southern Gardening.
We'll take a short break right here, but stick around. Coming up in our Farm Week feature, the story of the Mackenzies. We travel back to a heartbreak tornado on Easter Sunday in 2020 in Monticello, Mississippi. They were close to the land, loving it, they say, with all their hearts, but when they looked outside, they thought a bomb had gone off. Like that, they lost 200 acres of timber, but they recovered, and with a county agent's help, learned more about just how extension matters. That's coming up on Farm Week. Don't go away.
Here's this week's Farm Week calendar. First, in your home, are you ready to make a positive impact on the planet while saving on energy? Want to learn how to reduce waste and improve home energy efficiency? Come to Make Your Home Sustainable Monday, June 24th at 11 a.m. at Ricks Memorial Library in Yazoo City. The program is free and you'll learn tons. Sign the Sustainable Home Pledge and get a yard sign. For more info, call Sharon Nettles at 601-497-9884. Next, Investigating Coastal Biodiversity, a conservation and restoration camp for kids 14 through 18, July 8 through 12 at Camp Wilkes in Biloxi. The camp is free and includes accommodations, all meals, and all activities. Participants will learn about coastal biodiversity and ecosystems, working with scientists from Germany and Mississippi. Spots are limited. Register on the MSU Extension website. And that's the Farm Week calendar for this week.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations and their faith. I believe in my own work and in the opportunity I have to make my life useful to humanity. I believe that education is a lifelong process, and the greatest university is the home. That my success as a teacher is proportional to those qualities of mind and spirit that give me welcome entrance to the homes of the families that I serve. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
Time for the market report. Looks like a slight rebound this week.
Not only that, but this month's WASDE report dropped too, and we're going to talk about that. But first, the numbers. What were last week's biggest gains and losses? And then this month's WASDE report. What did it have to say? And finally, we sit down with MSU row crop economist Will Maples to talk about the WASDE's implications. So, markets closed last Friday on the upswing. Livestock all up while row crops slightly split. Let's take a look. Last week's biggest gain, live cattle up over 5 3/4 cents. That's a near 3 1/4% increase from the previous week. Last week's biggest losses, lumber and wheat, down $12 and 14 3/4 cents respectively. That's a 2.35% decrease each. This month's WASDE report dropped last week, a monthly domestic and global supply and production report released by the USDA. This one didn't make huge waves. We'll discuss that in a bit, but for now, here's what it said.
U.S. wheat supplies raised as production is up 17 million bushels from last month. Exports also up 25 million bushels. Ending stocks slightly down, but higher than last year. Global wheat supplies down 5.7 tons. Largest reductions from Russia, Ukraine, and the EU, mostly due to weather issues. Consumption is down, mostly from less feed and residual use. Ending stocks lowered 1.3 million tons. U.S. corn outlook unchanged from last month. Global corn production up on increases for Ukraine and Zambia. Exports also up for those countries, while Russian exports down. Ending stocks down 1.5 million tons. U.S. rice supplies down due to less beginning stocks, while exports up. Ending stocks down, but still up 12% from last year. Global rice supplies raised due to higher stocks and crop size in India. Consumption is also higher as well. Trade raised along with ending stocks, mostly due to increases for India and the Philippines. U.S. soybean stocks up due to reduced crush and domestic use despite higher exports. The same applies to soybean oil. Global soybean beginning stocks are also up due to higher U.S. stocks offsetting lower stocks in Brazil and Paraguay. Due to this, global ending stocks are projected down a little over half a ton. U.S. beef production mostly unchanged. Pork production raised due to higher slaughter pace. Broiler and turkey production also up due to higher bird weight for broilers and hatchery data for turkeys. Egg production down due to bird flu, found in laying flocks. U.S. milk production unchanged from last month. Butter, cheese, whey, and non-fat dry milk prices raised due to recent price strength. U.S. cotton projections show higher stocks, while production, domestic use, and exports are unchanged. Global cotton production up 90,000 bales due to higher yield in Burma. Consumption up 80,000 bales as well, with largest increase in Vietnam and Burma. With reduced trade and consumption, ending stocks are up.
So now we have the context. What did the report really tell us? I spoke with MSU Extension row crop economist Will Maples to get his thoughts, and, well, according to him, this report validated what we suspected and so far hasn't moved the market needle.
So the June WASDE historically is usually not that surprising. No surprises come out of it, and this year it was kind of the same. They left corn exactly the same as the May report. The trade did expect to see maybe a bump in exports in the old crop because we've had some stronger corn exports recently, so that was a little bit surprised that they didn't adjust the export numbers on corn. But overall, not much new on the corn market. Soybeans side, we saw them adjust domestic crush for the old crop down 10 million bushels or so. So that drove up our ending stocks, just that lower demand coming into the new crop. But so a little bit bearish on soybeans. But outside of that, no huge changes from what we saw last month.
So what is the big news cotton-wise? Because, you know, this is Mississippi and we're a cotton country down here.
They did adjust cotton exports down in this report for the old crop. Cotton exports continue to struggle. This global economy's, the demand for yarn, textiles, and apparel is still very sluggish. So we've been talking about cotton exports being down, the demand side of this equation for the last 6 months, and unfortunately it's still hanging down on the market going forward.
So overall, basically, this report didn't really tell us more than what we already knew. It was just a reiteration of what we already knew, and it's a holdover until next month.
Pretty much. So kind of next big report we get is going to be that June acreage report. Over the next few weeks, the market's going to be looking at the weather. So the outlook is for some pretty above average temperatures across the eastern half of the United States and parts of the Corn Belt. So kind of over the next few weeks, the market's going to be looking to see how long that heat hangs around. I mean, if it hangs around for 3 or 4 weeks at above average temps without much rain, we could potentially see some bit of a rally in those corn and soybean markets.
So, weather the big predictor in coming weeks, and we've got an idea of what that might be. According to the National Weather Service, it seems we're in for a heat wave, most of the U.S. affected, especially the Midwest and eastern U.S. One reason for this is the recent drought coming to an end due to the El Nino weather pattern transitioning into a La Nina. As we've reported, the drought caused a national cattle cull, and here in Mississippi, we lost many smaller ranchers. Time will tell if current weather will do the same. Mike?
Thank you, Zach. Time now for another Extension Matters story, this one called After the Storm. You can read the article in Extension Matters magazine. It's a moving story of disaster recovery and a father and son who lived through an Easter tornado back in 2020.
I love the farm. I was raised on a dairy farm down in Walthall County. When I was a kid, we milked by hand, but I was born in 29, so it was during the Depression. But it kept food on the table for us, so I can milk a cow in a hurry.
My dad always, he worked in trucking, but he always loved land. He always loved farming. We have about close to 400 acres. When I was probably about 6 years old, Daddy started farming here, mainly cattle. And while Daddy was working other jobs, like in the oil field, I would help around here. I love this place with all my heart.
We still piddle around here on the place. I may not work 30 minutes a day, but I'm still here on the place. I enjoy life, and it's just been a good life.
When the tornado came and we realized we had survived, when I looked outside, I honestly thought about a nuclear bomb.
The tornado was supposed to be coming through. We and him sit under the bar, and he put his arm around me. He said, "Daddy, if we blow away, we're going to blow away together." He was holding me, protecting me. And that's where we've been all our lives. We try to protect one another.
This storm hit the McKenzie's farm was on Easter Sunday, and we had just kind of gotten into the COVID situation. So we were kind of in emergency management mode when this tornado came through.
That hurt me more than anything else. It was more it wasn't the financial loss, it was more of the beauty of the land. That was devastating.
It was hard. I felt like it just destroyed part of my life. But I told Terry, I said, regardless, we're alive. Let's enjoy life. God give it to us, He can take it away from us.
All losses are bad, but a timber loss is exceptionally great. And it can be a very emotional thing for producers and families because a timber crop is a lifetime crop. Mr. Hulon is 90 years old, and he's lost 200 acres of timber, and that's not an easy recovery.
They were one of the first people that come after the storm, and Amanda was here the next morning.
She showed up out here to let us know what all help was available, and she has been nothing but, she's a friend. She stood right there, long before anybody else came out here. She explained to me all of the options, give me all the paperwork, and there's just so much that a lot of people need to know.
We kind of make sure in Extension that the right resources get linked to the right people. We did try to make them aware that they do need to fill out an ag damage assessment form, and these are the resources that might be available to them should they choose to take it, and you got to apply and who to link them to.
They were very helpful and they encouraged us, don't give up, and shared all the programs with us that we could apply for, to get help.
It was really a heartfelt feeling when she showed up here. And like I said, I've heard Extension all my life. I was in 4-H. You know, I raised chickens and showed them. I raised cattle, you know, calves, and showed them. It made me understand more about what the extension does.
I certainly didn't, you know, get on a bulldozer or move any trees around, you know, or anything like that. But we did try to make them aware and try to give them those documents and those opportunities.
She has been an asset every way. She acts like she appreciates us and loves us. She's always been here for us. To me, she's been the best county agent we ever had.
When you get to work for Extension, you know, that's a privilege, and public service is your responsibility, and we're trying to help them, you know, when they're in situations, and farming is near and dear to our heart. So I have a great respect for the people I serve, so really it's my privilege. It really is. I mean, to get to be paid to do what you love and help people, what more can you ask for?
Extension matters, no question.
No doubt about it, and mattering more every day.
Absolutely. Well, next time on Farm Week, a familiar story, antibiotic use in animals and resistant bacteria.
But there's beginning to be an even larger concern about the resistance, and it's not just about farm animals, but about our pets too.
We head to Minnesota, where veterinarians are a little concerned about resistance and about the closeness of our physical space with animals. Their message: when we're treating your animals, we're treating the whole house. A warning next time on Farm Week.
Remember, if you missed a story, look for past episodes of Farm Week on our website at farmweek.tv.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next week. Thanks for watching.